People get famous for all kinds of reasons.
I love you, Pookie, forever!
Some are talented, some are attractive, but imagine blowing up purely because people think you're ugly. That's actually the life of a streamer named Cuffem.
Put it back on!
Now, Cuffem leaned so hard into this being ugly joke that it actually became part of his career. Like, imagine being so committed to a bit, it actually provides most of your paycheck. Don't get me wrong, he's certainly been successful as a streamer, but now that it's clear people aren't just laughing with him, but at him, it's becoming tough for him to be taken seriously. If you've been paying attention to YouTube at all, there's currently a humiliation trend going on. Basically, as a way to stand out amongst other YouTubers or content creators, you essentially embarrass yourself and blow up as a result. I would consider Cuffem to be a part of one of these creators, but now we're starting to see the true consequences of doing this. But in order for us to understand how this joke got blown out of proportion, we need to go back to the very beginning. A few years ago, if you were on YouTube, you're definitely familiar with the 2K scene. Now, if you're familiar with this scene, you'll know that people like Aiden Ross and IShowSpeed, very early in their career, played these games online, and Cuffem was right there with them. In fact, believe it or not, his first video on YouTube was a 2K wager with Aiden Ross. If you're not familiar with Aiden Ross, he is a successful streamer. Throughout the next few months, him and Aiden Ross would form a group called SSB. It's essentially a group of dudes playing 2K, talking trash, and making content. It was also around this time Cuffem appeared on one of the first streams of IShowSpeed's. Speed was just as weird back then too. As Cuffem started to get more attention, his community would get a little bit more vocal about his appearance. Now, I don't know if it's a, dare I say, self-selected group. If you're in the same content world as Aiden Ross, usually the fan base is more edgy. So they're not afraid to say things that most people online wouldn't even think of. But Cuffem, being a 2K creator, had some thick skin. And ultimately, instead of denying it, this man embraced it. In fact, when Cuffem started to do more streaming, he posted a video saying he got friend-zoned live on stream. Now, I want to break this video down because he makes it seem, based on the title and thumbnail, that he got outright friend-zoned in the video. However, this isn't actually what happened. It seemed like the girl was talking to someone else at the time, but was recently single. Now, I don't know if Cuffem didn't have the ability to see, oh, this girl spent at least 5 minutes of her day talking to me. She probably is interested in some regard. He just wasn't able to pick up on that. But nonetheless, his fans loved it and started to eat it up. Now, I think it's interesting because around this time, Cuffem would also start rapping. He'd make a couple diss tracks of people that were just mostly funny. But it seemed at this point he didn't take it too seriously. A side note I want to make is I think the reason Cuffem felt the need to rap was almost in order to make up for this I'm ugly arc or I'm ugly backstory. Now, I'm sure some of you are thinking, does this translate to girls in real life? Of course, girls come on stream and they act a certain way, but does blowing up as a creator saying you're chopped actually give you a girlfriend in real life? We'll know based off this next story. Cuffem at this point was in a good place in his career and decided to move out to LA. Cuffem allegedly went on Tinder and found a girlfriend. They started dating and even living together, and it actually got to the point where he let her use his Tesla, and it seemed to be going well. However, a year later, Cuffem caught her in a car with another guy filming for OF, which is absolutely insane. Cuffem filmed himself crashing out and even followed them in his Hellcat for a little bit. But honestly, it's crazy that this would even happen to you. Now, at this point, Cuffem hasn't really fully gotten into the, oh, I'm ugly arc, but it's interesting that he's already kind of having issues with this. Now, if I'm going to defend my boy Cuffem, finding a girlfriend on Tinder is probably not a great idea, especially if she is an OF girl. So I don't think this really has anything to do with Cuffem. I think she probably would have done this to any guy. But anyway, it was around this time where Cuffem had this glow up phase where his chat would take screenshots of him looking not the best on stream, and Cuffem would comment saying that person no longer exists. Meaning, in his view, he's totally changed as a person, which will be important later. So a few months later, he's still close with Aiden and the SSB gang, but he would start to get into drugs, one of them being lean. Now, Aiden got addicted to lean and made comments about how he needed to step away from some people that were negatively influencing him to do so. And I'm not sure, but I think one of these people he was referring to was Cuffem. I could be wrong, but Cuffem does actually actively promote lean, which we'll see here in a little bit. I'm sure one of the effects of having your chat clown on you every day, you're just immediately more defensive. And I think that's why he's been getting into some beef recently. For example, he's actually gotten into some beef with Kai Cenat, who mentioned Cuffem on a recent stream. And although it doesn't sound like anything too serious happened, I guess this is just the reality of being in the streamer world, because it sounded like they DM'd each other off stream saying, hey, we're good. But nonetheless, I think when you're being attacked so much by your chat and by people on Monkey because you lean into this I'm chopped or I'm ugly bit, it starts to create an interesting complex within yourself. To help medicate some of this hate, Cuffem actually did a lean mukbang, where he would essentially get high on stream from sipping a bunch of lean.
Okay. I will be the first streamer to do a lean mukbang on stream.
Huh? Obviously, this got him banned from Kick, which would really suck for a little bit because I think that was his main source of income. But the good thing is there's still some people trying to watch out for him. For example, Sneeko tried to humble him, calling him out for being a bad influence, but I don't think it helped him.
What did that cost? Like $3,000?
This right here was like $4,800.
And this leads us to the most important part. He would post multiple videos of going on Monkey and getting flamed by person after person. He'd honestly kind of set them up for it, asking questions like, oh, how do I compare to Duke Den, who is known in the streamer and YouTube world as just being a good looking dude? And Cuffem knows exactly what they're gonna say. Now, I don't know how you really come back from this, especially video after video, but how bad is one of these videos actually? Let's find out.
Yo, I got a question.
Oh.
Yo.
Damn, you look ugly as hell. You look like a Ninja Damn Turtle.
Wow, this is a 45-minute video and we literally just started.
You can't even see me.
Exactly. With that damn ski on your damn head, all over your damn head, look like a damn Ninja Turtle. That boy look like a rat dial. A rat tile.
Oh no, put it back on.
Put it back on.
Put it back on.
Put this back on.
Okay, I think some of you are starting to see the point. Imagine this is your job, to essentially stream yourself getting harassed.
Mate.
Maybe they're just laughing at the fact that his mask isn't on right.
It's covering it up. It's covering it up.
How do you see?
What's good with you?
Okay, that was really rough. I hope you guys are starting to see my point. I think this thing for Cuffem will always be something in people's mind. He's always going to be ugly in some way to some people, but he's been able to make money off of it, and I'm not sure how much he really cares about it, to be honest. I know he freaks out on people, but I'm not sure how much of it is him just being an entertainer versus him actually acting out of emotion. He recently just released a video about competing to be in the world's ugliest man competition on stream, where he would go on e-dates with girls with another streamer and fight for their love. And honestly, I think it might be tough for Cuffem to continue down this arc, because at what point do you try and turn this thing around? I do admire his work ethic and think overall he's a good person, although I do think some therapy would be beneficial. I think just constantly putting yourself in situations to get flamed might do some irreversible damage at some point. I don't think people were ever meant to take that much criticism, and to do it day in, day out, 8 hours a day while streaming, that's definitely gonna do something to you. In some ways, Cuffem is like a science experiment. How much social criticism can you take before you reach a breaking point? And that leads us to our question, was it worth it for Cuffem? I think in his mind it was, but I think in the bigger picture, I don't know if it will be. I think down the line, maybe he'll regret some of the videos he's made, but I think in the grand scheme of things, I think he's glad he ultimately leaned into it. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.